Hey, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Ultra Running News Network. Unfortunately, Johnny could not be with us today. He has some stuff going on, and he couldn't be on. And but I wanted to get this episode out there because this is a lot's happened in the ultra world in the last 2 weeks. We were off last week, and this is a late release this week, so definitely wanted to get it out there before the weekend. So I will just jump right into it. We're going to go over race results. Like I said, I have 2 weeks worth of race results. 3 hard rock qualifiers happened in the last 2 weeks and a ton of course records. So lots of good races to talk about. FKTs, all kinds of FKTs. People are just ripping them off left and right. So we'll talk about some of those. And we have a bunch of news. We have the U.S. mountain and trail running teams were announced for the World Championships at the end of September for the U.S. And another story about a guy that did a crazy thing. So stick around and we'll get into it. So we can just jump right into race results. This is from 2 weekends ago, July 19th weekend. The classic Vermont 100 took place. That's in West Windsor, Vermont. We talked about this on the last episode. And this 100-miler has been going on since 1989, 36 years now. It is definitely one of the OG 100-mile races. It's part of the Grand Slam of ultra running. And this year in the 100-miler, Justin Scheid won for the men. He had a blazing fast time of 15 hours and 37 minutes. And Jenny Hoffman won for the women in 17 hours and 29 minutes. That's good for 5th place overall. And in the 100K, friend of the pod, our friend Cole Crosby got first place. And not only did he get first place in the 100K, he crushed it. He got the course record by over 8 minutes. And let's see, Cole's finish time was 9 hours and 16 minutes. So congrats, Cole. And Joanna Fortier won for the women, and her time was 10 hours and 36 minutes. She won by well over an hour and got 6th overall. So congrats to everybody out of Vermont. Cascade Crest 100 was also on that July 19th weekend. And Cascade Crest is another one of these classic 100-mile races in Easton, Washington. I crewed out there at Cascade Crest a couple of years ago. It's a really well-run race. Some good people out there, good, family-like atmosphere. Been going on for 26 years. And it's part of Ultra Running Magazine's Old School Ultras that series that they have where they highlight some of the old school ultra races throughout the year. And Jimmy Elam just crushed the course record out there this year for the men, 17 hours and 8 minutes. So he took nearly 48 minutes off of Seth Swanson's previous course record that was set back in 2014. And for the women, Caitlin Gerben from Washington, she earned the win, and she got 4th overall in 21 hours and 35 minutes. That's her second win at Cascade Crest. Her first one was back in 2017. High Lonesome was also on that weekend, and High Lonesome out of Salida, Colorado, has really been turning into a popular 100-mile race. It's run really well. The people out there are great. They value old, like traditional ultra running values. It's like family-like atmosphere. They actually hand out engraved bottles of bourbon for the finishers, which is pretty cool. And they really promote people, anybody to run their races, and just to show how well of a job they do with that. Over 50% of the starters were female this year, which is really awesome. That's not typical in ultra races. Usually there's a majority of the participants are male, but they had over 50% of their starters as female. So that was really cool to see. And Rachel Entrekin, who's having a heck of a year, won for the women in 21 hours and 56 minutes. And not only did she win for the women, she took 23 minutes off the previous course record, and she ended up with 4th overall. And Rachel, this year, she's just been on a tear. She's won Badger Mountain 100, Whiskey Basin 91K, Colorado, the Cocodona 250, which Johnny and I were out crewing for Pete. But yeah, she dominated Cocodona 2 years in a row now. And now she has the victory out at High Lonesome and the course record. So she's just having a hell of a year. And it's not even over yet. She is signed up for the inaugural running of the Mammoth 200 miler, which is coming up in September out near Mammoth Lakes in the Eastern Sierra. So I'm really excited to see how that race goes for Rachel and for everybody else, since it's an inaugural year. So it should be fun to follow. First place in the men's race was Jeffrey Colt, and Jeffrey also set a new course record with a crazy fast time of 18 hours and 52 minutes. And that he took over 50 minutes off the old course record, which was held by Jimmy Elam, who we just mentioned has the new course record out at Cascade Crest. So well done, Jeffrey. And, High Lonesome is not an easy race. This is a big mountain race in Colorado. It takes place at altitude. It's very difficult. It's a hard rock qualifier. So not a cupcake at all. And Ouray 100 also was at the same time in Ouray, Colorado, out in hard rock country. And this race is crazy too. This has almost 42,000 feet of climbing. And, this is probably the most climbing, aside from Barkley, and the most climbing out of any 100-mile race in the United States. Or if it's not, it's at least got to be right up there in the top 3. And Sarah Ostrozewski was out there, and she won for the women in 29:09, and Ted Bross won for the men in 32:42. Now, everybody's reporting that these are course records, and what is kind of confusing to me is there is some results for 2014. There was an inaugural year that this race was run. I don't know if it was on a different course, but there were faster times in 2014 out for Ouray 100. But there's not 2014 results in Ultra Sign Up. It's only on the Ultra Running magazine. So all sources are reporting that Sarah and Ted did set the course records this year. So if anybody knows why the times from the 2014 race of Ouray 100 are not counting towards the record, please hit us up in our social media pages and let us know, or send us an email. All our contact info is in the show notes. So we'd love to hear from you if you know. All right, let's move on to July 26th weekend. So this was last weekend. Speedgoat 50K. It's a classic. It started by Carl Meltzer back in 2008 because, surprise, surprise, his nickname is Speedgoat. So He started Speedgoat 50K. And one thing, Carl did an awesome job with this race. It's a sky race. It has over 11,400 feet of climbing out there at Snowbird. And it's a very popular event. And UTMB actually purchased the race from Carl a few years ago. So UTMB is now the race company for Speedgoat. You know, Carl started giving prize money to this race years ago, and UTMB is still honoring that. They're still giving out prize money. I mean, it's not a ton of money. It's $2,000 to each of the winners. So, I mean, $2,000 is it's better than none. I'm not saying it's chump change or anything, but yeah. So they are still giving out $2,000 to each of the winners. For the women, Jennifer Lichter, she set a new course record for the women at Speedgoat in 5 hours and 54 minutes. And she is the first woman in the 18-year history of this race to finish under 6 hours. So Jennifer, kudos to you. That's freaking awesome. And in the men's race, Ryan Becker ended up winning in 5 hours and 17 minutes. And a notable thing that happened in the men's race was Eric Sorensen was closing the gap on, he was in second. He was closing the gap on Ryan throughout the later parts of the race. And he ended up getting really close. And it was a 6-second difference when he crossed the finish line. So Ryan ended up beating Eric by 6 seconds. So exciting finish for the men's race. But Jennifer going under 6 hours and setting the course record for the women in 5 hours and 54 minutes is definitely the highlight of Speedgoat. And we'll move on now to Crazy Mountain 100. This is another hard rock qualifier. And Crazy Mountain 100 is also, just like High Lonesome, is also just becoming one of these staple races, popular races. You see a lot about it on social media these days. And from my understanding, this is a very difficult race. I would love to hear from anybody out there that has done this race or knows somebody that's done the race, because I'd like to hear some good specific details about the course. I heard there's a lot of rocks. It's very tough. So I would really enjoy to hear about that. So for the men's race at Crazy Mountain 100, Brandon Benefield won in 20 hours and 41 minutes, and that was good enough for a course record. So Brandon got the course record, and Cassie Knight won for the women in 25 hours and 49 minutes. Also, a pretty interesting story out of Crazy Mountain 100. This guy, Scott Martin, he did what people are calling the triple. They're calling it the RA crazy hard ass finisher or Ouray crazy hard ass finisher. I'm not sure how they want to pronounce the OUR, if it's our or your, like Ouray, Colorado. Anyway, what Scott did was unfathomable. He ran Hard Rock 100, and then he ran Ouray 100 the following weekend, and then he did Crazy Mountain 100 the weekend after that. I don't know how that is possible. Hard Rock, Ouray, Crazy Mountain, back to back to back. 3 of the hardest 100-mile races in the United States. And he finished all of them. So pretty cool. Great job, Scott. Hats off to you. I don't know how you did it, but it's pretty cool. Burning River 100 was also last weekend. Burning River was my first 100-mile race, and I actually DNF'd that back in 2013 due to a pain in my foot. And I had to limp for like 20 miles and I timed out at mile 74. I went back 2 years later and got it done. So Burning River it's holds a special place for me just because it was my inaugural 100 miler. And Burning River is known to be hot this time of year in Ohio. It's a crapshoot, but it is known to be hot. And this year, not only was it hot, it was extremely humid. I was visiting family in Ohio last weekend. And so I was there, not at the race, but I was in Ohio, and the humidity was just off the charts. So they also had some crazy ass rain and downpours as well. So made it definitely challenging this year at Burning River out at Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. This is a long running race as well. This is an old school race. It's the 19th year for it. And it used to be a point to point race. When I did it, it was point to point. Now it's a out and back. In 2021, they switched the format to an out and back, starting and ending in Cuyahoga Falls. It used to just end in Cuyahoga Falls and start up in Willoughby Hills or something like that. But anyway, so this year for the women's race, Megan Alvarado won in 21 hours and 52 minutes. That's 7th overall. So congrats, Megan. Pretty awesome. And from the men's race, Alec Klein won. Alec has had a hell of a year, and I'll talk about that in a second. But Alec, he took control of the men's race early. He never gave up the lead. He ended up winning in 16 hours and 30 minutes. And as I mentioned, Alec is having a hell of a year. It was his 4th 100-mile win this year and his 9th ultra win of the year. So that's got to put him in running for top 10 ultra runners of the year, I would think. But it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. But congrats to Alec and Megan and everybody that braved the humidity out at Burning River this year and got it done. Hood 100. This is a second-year race. Took place last weekend. This is out in Hood, Oregon, and it's just north of where Mountain Lakes 100 is that I did last year. And this is up more in the shadows, they say, of Mount Hood. So, good views of Mount Hood throughout the race. And it's put on by Daybreak Racing. So they do a pretty good job putting on races. And there's just under 18,000 feet of climbing in the race. So it's pretty challenging. And Kevin Stewart won for the men and set a course record in 16 hours and 8 minutes. And Aaron Bruner also set a course record for the women, and she won in 21 hours and 44 minutes. This is the second year for Hood 100. It's a newer race, but it seems like it's gaining momentum as a popular race. And shout out to my friend Adam. He got his first 100-mile finish out there at Hood 100. So that is cool. Congrats, Adam. Minnesota Voyageur 50 in Carlton, Minnesota. Extremely classic race. Founded in 1982. I remember reading Scott Jurick's book, Eat and Run, where he talks about the Minnesota Voyageur. It was his first 50-mile race. So that's pretty cool. And this year, let's see here, Jacob Wortman won overall, and for the men, 7 hours and 40 minutes. And Lauren Mitchell won for the women in 8 hours and 23 minutes. All right. One more race, the Tushers Mountain 100K in Utah. It's an Air Viper race. And Michael Versteeg took first for overall in 12 hours and 38 minutes, which is pretty fast time. And Cesar McKinney was first for the women in 17 hours and 50 minutes. All right, let's jump into some FKTs. There was a bunch of them. And we'll start with Colorado Trail. There was a female unsupported FKT and that's the route that goes west to east and taking the Collegiate west part when you get to the Collegiate mountain range. And this is the one that Jeff Browning set last year. But this year, Jessica Pekari did it unsupported for the women in 12 days and 15 hours and 12 minutes. So to put that into perspective, that's over 12 and a half days, and it's unsupported, meaning you have to carry all your food with you for the whole time. You have to get water from either, rivers or public water fountains that anybody can use. So pretty impressive that Jessica did it in an unsupported manner. All right. Now, next one we're going to talk about is, for the second episode in a row, is the 100 miles of wilderness in Maine. This is part of the Appalachian Trail, and it's a section of the Appalachian Trail that's very remote and rugged in Maine. It's hard to get any crew or anything in this section, and it's a 96.5 mile section with over 18,400 feet of climbing. It's the longest section of the Appalachian Trail with no services. And this time we're talking about a male supported FKT. Xander Keiter broke his own FKT actually, and he went 23 hours and 9 minutes and 51 seconds for male supported on the 100 miles of wilderness in Maine. Another FKT recently set was the New Hampshire 4,000 footers. And I did not know about this FKT until I was researching it for the show. And this is an interesting one. So there's 48 mountains in New Hampshire that are at 4,000 feet or higher. And they're spread out across the White Mountains. And so, the White Mountains and the Adirondacks in New York are considered the most difficult terrain on the East Coast. So these mountains in New Hampshire are extremely rugged and tough terrain. So this is no easy feat to traverse the 4,000 footers. And there's two ways to do this. There's the standard route and there's the self-powered route. The standard route involves being supported and actually driving to the different trailheads in between. The self-powered means you're doing it in a through hike style where you're not driving in between the trailheads. You're literally self-powered through the whole thing. And there's a bunch of history on this FKT. I'm not going to go into it now, but history about how the route goes and all this. So I encourage you to go to the FK or fastest known time website, fastestknowntime.com. Do a search for the New Hampshire 4,000 footers if you want to learn more about this one. But Andrew Drummond just set the unsupported FKT, and he did it self-powered Okay. So in 4 days and 22 hours and 43 minutes. So pretty impressive. Unsupported, self-powered New Hampshire 4,000 footers. All right, moving on. We have a Pacific Crest Trail FKT, and not the whole Pacific Crest Trail, but the Oregon section. It's 453 miles, and it's female unsupported FKT set by Kaylee Levine in 10 days and 16 hours. She took almost 4 days off of the previous unsupported FKT for the women. So pretty impressive. Staying in Oregon, the Oregon Coast Trail, it's kind of a classic through hike trail along the Oregon coast, 407.9 miles. And Katie Gunvalson set the FKT self-supported in 7 days and 19 hours. And also Mike Wardian must be on vacation or something out in the British Virgin Islands. He has just been on a tear, setting an FKT almost every day for, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, for like 5 days in a row. He was setting FKTs out there. Well, actually missed one day, but 5 out of 6 days he set FKTs in the British Virgin Islands. So look up Mike on the Fastest Known Time website, and you can see they're mostly smaller routes. Like these are the times on these FKTs: 19 minutes, 1 hour and 13 minutes, 34 minutes, 33 minutes, 47 minutes. So they're shorter distance segments, but he's just out there on vacation, just like, well, I'm here, might as well rip off some quick FKTs while I'm here. Liz Derstine is still out on the PCT, and looks like her average is 38.1 miles a day. She's been out there for 49 days. As mentioned, her average is behind current FKT pace, so she will have to start putting in some extra miles if she wants to go for the FKT. I'm not sure if she is interested in doing that or not at this point, but it'll be fun to follow along. Looks like she's near Crater Lake National Park. Okay, let's dive into some news. I wish I had some music or something to kind of play to bring us into the news. Maybe we'll have to look at doing that in the future. The U.S. mountain and trail running teams have been announced for this year, and the World Championships are going to be held September 24th through 28th in Spain. And this is a biennial event, and it basically combines some previous championship series into one. It's probably easier to do than having multiple different championships throughout the year. It's hard to get people to, hard to put on all these different events. So nice to just have it all consolidated into one. And for the U.S., the long trail team for the men, this is all these runners, men and women, for all these different teams are mind-blowing. Like, we really have a superstar cast here. So for the long trail team for the men, we have Jim Walmsley, Tyler Green, Zach Miller, Caleb Olson, Adam Peterman, and Trayson Knott. That, it just, I mean, that's going to be hard to beat. The long trail team for the women, same thing. We have Katie Scheid, Jennifer Lichter, Allison Baca, Emily Schmitz, Claire Rhodes, and Shea Aquilano. All superstars. So the women long trail team is going to be in good shape. Missing from the team is Courtney Dauwalter, and I have a feeling I know why. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Okay, so for the short trail team for the men, we have David Sinclair, Ryan Becker, Eli Hemming, Seth Ruling, Michelano Sinceri, and Noah Williams. So again, awesome team for the short trail. And for the women, Helen Mino Faulkner, Grayson Murphy, who Grayson is just an excellent short distance mountain runner. And this year she's ran her first 2 ultras at Broken Arrow and also at was it Speedgoat, I believe. And she did really well in both of those. I think she top 5 at Broken Arrow, and she got 3rd at Speedgoat. So Grayson is strong. Tabor Hemming and Janae Mao, Ruby Lindquist, and Lindsay Allison are also on the women's short trail team. So it'll be exciting to see them compete. Then we have the vertical mountain team for the men, Christian Allen, who's just been crushing it this year in the shorter distance mountain races. And Joseph Gray, another superstar, just like Grayson Murphy, as far as the shorter distance mountain racing. Cameron Smith and Tyler McCandless also are on the vertical mountain team. And for the women, we have Sydney Peterson, Hillary Allen, Jessica Brazil. Sorry, Jessica, probably butchered your name there. Brazo. That might be it. Anna Gibson as well. Anna's having a heck of a year too. So the women vertical mountain team is stacked. Then we have the classic mountain team for the men, David Norris, Mason Copy, Taylor Stack, Cameron Smith. And then classic mountain team for the women, Courtney Coppinger, Anna Gibson, Lauren Gregory, and Allie McLaughlin. And then for the under 20 mountain team, Cadell Ruthven, Asher Oates, Noah McMahon, Ezekiel Wilcox. So I'm not familiar with the under 20 runners. The U20 for the women, Sophia Rodriguez, Rudy Immels, Abby Stone, and Sierra Wall. So I have a feeling they are going to be superstar runners. Or they already are. They're just young. So, all right. Next news story. So there's been reports that Courtney Dauwalter and Jim Walmsley are both going to be running UTMB this year. I hope that's true. If so, it'll be awesome to see them over there representing the United States at UTMB. And I guess we will see in a few weeks, or what is that? It's usually Labor Day weekend for UTMB. So about a month from now. So it'd be awesome. Next news story, Bear 100 is moving to lottery. Bear 100 has traditionally been a first come, first serve type of race where I think you could sign up within a week or two of it going in, releasing the registration. At least, I signed up for Bear. I ran it in 2021 with Sean, and, we both got in no problem. But now it's really become very popular. This is a hard rock qualifier. It's a great race. Bear 100, if you're looking for a mountain race that's well run, and that time of year in September in northern Utah and southern Idaho, the aspen trees are all turning. The weather, knock on wood, the weather is typically pretty awesome. Cold at night, could be hot during the day. It's kind of what we had when I ran it, but I couldn't really ask for better weather for an ultra, to be honest. Just an awesome. I probably had my best 100-mile race out at Bear. Just an awesome race all around. I really like it. So I can see why it's become popular, and they're kind of forced to move to a lottery system. So if you're thinking about running Bear, just be aware that starting next year, it's going to be a lottery. And I believe the lottery, I read the timeline, and it's going to be after the Hard Rock and Western States lotteries. So it's really cool that they're doing that, because it doesn't put you in a pinch to where you're signed up for a race. You get into multiple races and you can't get a refund, and you don't want to run all those races. So it's cool that they're lining it up in that manner. Also on the news front, John Kelly, his Appalachian Trail attempt, he was well on track for the record, but had to cut it short. Couldn't get the FKT because he had that issue with his foot, with blood flow to his foot. His MRI is clear, but he still doesn't really have a resolution from the cause of his issue from that AT attempt. So he is talking about running Tor de Geants, which is in 2 months. And he's going to see how his training goes. But yeah, he's talking about giving it a go. So it'd be cool if he's able to overcome whatever happened to his foot and line up at Tor. And final news story I wanted to go over today. There's this guy in Wales. He's 42 years old, has 4 kids, and his wife had passed away. And not only that, the guy had a recent hip surgery. So, a lot of things stacked against him here. So what does he do to honor his late wife? He does a 70-mile hike across a mountain range in Wales with a refrigerator strapped to his back. And he did this all to raise money for charity in memory of his late wife. And the mountains in Wales are no joke. If you look at that Snowdonia race, I mean, these mountains they're technical, they're rugged, they're difficult, they're steep. So this guy did a 70-mile hike where the Logan or Yogan round is. And you can see the video of him on Instagram here. If you're watching YouTube, I got it up. But the guy's got this refrigerator strapped to his back, and he's just moving right along, hip replacement and all. So pretty cool. Yeah, no, that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. And here he is going down this steep ass hill. Insane. And he raised more than 50,000 pounds, for charity, which is super cool. So nice work, sir. I didn't catch his name. Whoa. Nice Amber Alert coming up there. All right. That's it for the news. And I had a 3Ts subject for this week, but I'm going to hold off on doing this until Johnny comes back. Hopefully next week, Johnny will be back, and we'll be back with your regularly scheduled programming and regularly attending hosts. And yeah, so I hope everyone has an awesome weekend, and have a good long run if you're out there getting after it. And if you're not, enjoy the relaxing weekend. All right. Well, if you could please like, subscribe, rate the show, pass the word along to your friends. Anything you can do to help help get the word out. You know, we've been doing the show for over a year and a half now. So we would like to maybe reach out to some more people. So, all right, hit us up on social media. Let us know what you think. Interact with us. Anybody that's done Crazy Mountain 100, please let me know details about that course. I would love to hear it. So, all right, thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you on the next one.